I think you can hear me now. But I think the audio is kind of probably crazy right now. Hold on, let me bring it down a little bit. There will never be a day where technology is just on my side. Yeah, there'll never be a day. But we're back. We're back. Apologies. My desk is a mess. I am all over the place, having to deal with 5,000 things every single day, and Jimmy nowhere in sight as usual. Yeah, but big up yourselves. Always. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It should be much better now. Let me know if the audio is cleared up a little bit. You know what's so funny? Today I was in the middle of getting ready to do a stream around 5 o'clock, and then I slammed my toenail, my thumb toe. I like absolutely rock smashed it into like a part of the table. And my thumb toe just absolutely smashed into smithereens. And this might sound a little yucky, but it pierced into my toe, and there was just blood everywhere. It was hurting a lot. So I needed to patch that up a little bit, and that's why I'm late. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic start to your weekend. I honestly feel like there is so much going on right now for me personally. Add to the fact that I am back in the office way more often times than not, and it is quite exhausting. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but you know me, I'm usually cooked, but now I'm even more cooked, and this is I'm not gonna lie to y'all, this ain't fun. I'm out here just getting burnt out all day, every day. You know what I mean? But Mace Windex in the chat, he's been like, John, where's the stream? John, where's the stream? John, where's the stream? And Jimmy's like, look at the comments. They're always asking you, where's the stream? I'm trying. I'm looking for the days. I'm looking for the time. We're figuring it out. We're doing our best. Yeah? But we're here. I had to do a stream today. We needed to talk about a bunch of things, and I figured more so than anything else, because you guys are always so intuitive and interactive, and you guys are always asking me questions, I figured it's most likely, like, at least for our community, like, I don't need to be picking a topic, because you guys are usually here with the topic anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah. So if you guys have anything you want to discuss in the chat, let me know. But in the meantime, cheers to the weekend. There's coffee in here. I'm absolutely pooped. And you know what's even crazier? I know we're constantly going into tangents, but I busted my back. I don't know if you guys can see, but let me actually no, I don't even no, I feel like you guys are my it's a little too TMI, but I busted my back, and I'm out here just it's hurting like a mother. It's hurting like a MF, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where I can't even bend down to reach, and it's hurting. And I'm cooked. I'm cooked in all sorts of levels. I'm cooked. But again, we're out here having fun. Nick Bradford in the chat says hello, Immaculate Collective. Big up Nick Bradford as always. Alberto Reyes in the chat. What's going on? Thank you for joining us. Mace Windex. Yes, you get what you wanted. The live is here. We're here. All right. We got DB Cooper in the chat. What's going on? He says, I'm glad you came on, John. I got some issues with you, my friend. What'd I do? You don't have to talk to me about this. Katie Marie joining us as always. What's going on, Katie? Hope you had a great birthday yesterday. I did. Katie, thank you so much. Appreciate you for that. Honestly, the older I get, the more I feel like birthdays feel like not really celebratory. And I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm just so busy, and there's not really me personally, apart from personal, I guess, challenges and the work you got to keep going through. I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling sad. I have no idea. I don't really know. Maybe this is one of those things I might need to have a therapy session about, but I don't really know if I really feel like celebrating my birthday. But I'm always reminded of birthdays because of family and friends and whatnot. And I'm so grateful for my friends because they're always there for me, And yeah, the older I get, the less I feel like celebrating my birthday. But yesterday was a little bit different. Difficult. I don't know what the word is. Like I said, I don't really celebrate birthdays, but the one thing I always do is talk to my family. And my grandpops, he always used to call me in the morning. Always. Every single year. The first thing he did was call me in the morning because my grandpops and my grandma, they have a little calendar in their room. You know, the old school, you tear off the sheet calendar. And after every new calendar, because he doesn't want to forget, he always puts in the birthdays of every single family member so that in the morning when he rips off the thing, he calls, you know? And he used to do that every time, every year. He'd call me by my name. And yeah, he'd just be like, "It's your birthday today. Happy birthday. I miss you. Come visit." I wasn't even going to talk about this. I completely forgot. And then, but anyway, I figured I might as well tell you. Yeah, he'd always be like, "Oh, when are you getting married? When are you doing this? When are you doing that?" Blah, blah, blah. You know, he'll use the opportunity to squeeze in a couple of nags here and there, but he'd always be like, "Come have dinner." And I wasn't thinking much of it, really. I wasn't really thinking much of it until I was on my drive to work. And on my drive, I got a call from a friend, and he was asking me what I was doing for my birthday. And I was like, "Oh, yo, dude, honestly, I wasn't even going to do anything. I was just going to stay home, start figuring out content schedule, email, response, bunch of things," you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's all I was planning on doing. And then I hung up that call, and while I'm on my drive, I was just thinking about birthday, and I was like, damn, that's why I felt so weird in the morning, because every year the routine was the same, and this was the first year that it changed. But yeah, sorry to bring the energy down, but I just wanted to share how it was. And at night, my mumsy invited me over for dinner. She made some incredible dishes. My belly was filled to the brim. I ate so much. And then I was just sitting there with my family, and then somebody smashed my door, like, dong, 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 like thudded my door. I was like, and then my friends showed up, surprise, surprise, and they like walked in there, sat on the couch, and they all just started eating cake and fruit, and yeah, we had a good time. It was a great time. It ended very well, surprisingly, and I was just very grateful for my family and friends, and of course to every single one of you that was sending me very kind birthday messages through Instagram and through all the social media platforms. I just want to say thank you very much. Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful for all of you. But yeah, the older I get, the more and more I feel like, you know, time is becoming more and more valuable, you know. But anyways, we'll do a little bit more of that conversation for the next member stream, which, by the way, will be happening tomorrow. Okay? We'll be having a member stream tomorrow. The member stream will be happening, I would say, sometime 10 a.m. No. Let's do 11 a.m. We'll do 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And I'll make a stream for that tomorrow so you guys can hit the notification bell and all that good stuff for the YouTube members. But let's get into this, because we've been holding off for a minute. I've been off on a tangent. Let's talk a little bit about what's been going on in the world of football. I know Manchester United lost to the ASEAN All-Stars out in Malaysia. United absolutely continuing to bring some of the weird vibes, and I'm sad and I'm hurt. Why do we got to do this, you know? And then, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about some transfer news, including the big one, which is Bruno Fernandes. So we're going to get into all of that. So everybody, I know we're 15 minutes in, but strap yourselves in. Not lock yourselves in, that's crazy. Strap yourselves in, because we're going to have a great day tonight. A great day tonight. Great time tonight. Okay, as you can tell, it's been a while. Yeah, my hair's a mess. I'm all over the place, okay? I'm tired. You're going to have to forgive me. We're going to have to beat ourselves back into this a little bit. Okay, let's see. Let's see what's Ewan in the chat says, John, you have me a heart attack. I didn't see the if in your title at first. Oh, I'm so sorry. Was it clickbaity? I did not mean to do it that way. Sorry about that. EB in the chat says, loan or keep Cheeto Obi for next season. If we sign one striker, which I think we will, you keep Cheeto Obi. If we sign two strikers, then you have a much more of an opportunity to loan him out. But I think we're going to keep Cheeto Obi because I have a very strong feeling that Rasmus might leave Manchester United. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Katie in the chat says, I feel the same as you do. It didn't even feel like a short week, to be honest. Yeah, my days feel like a blur these times. Murph in the chat says, John, when John gets tired, the New Yorker really comes out. Do y'all hear? I mean, I try so hard to not talk with my New York accent, but sometimes it comes out. I can't help it. You know, sometimes it just comes out and it slips. And it slips more when I get pissed, like when I get angry, especially when people, not fans, when people attack me. And I get really upset. My New York start coming out. I don't know what happens, but it just loads in, you know. But yeah, my New York comes out sometimes. You're gonna have to forgive me. Let's see. DJ Ricky Business in the chat, what's going on? He says, nice to see Cheeto with the brace. I heard today he scored a brace. I think we went down first, right? 1-0, and then we scored a brace, and then Aiden Heaven got the third. I didn't even have a chance to watch the game because I was working all day. But yeah, honestly though, those two games, with the greatest respect to the fans out there, it was really just fan service in terms of being able to show up and play a match. It's not like these players were out. Let's be real. They weren't out there trying to put up a world-class performance. They're probably gassed and exhausted to begin with. I mean, I saw Ahmad's Instagram post today. He has they have a 14-hour flight back. That is insane, bruv. Insane. You know? But anyways, yeah, no, I mean, look, I tell you guys all the time, for fans all across the world, the idea of a friendly... Sorry, let's redo that. The idea of a friendly for many fans, especially from Europe, they might not see it as valuable or worth the effort. But for fans all across the world, the idea of a friendly or an exhibition match or whatever these things are, they're so important because they give you access to the players that in regular circumstances are very hard to access. You know, it's so hard for these fans all across the world to travel to Manchester or travel to England to watch, you know. But yeah, that's honestly, I was happy that the Malaysian fans and the Hong Kong fans, and I heard a lot of like fans within the area, Indonesia, Singapore, and a bunch of those fans also flew in to watch the game. So I was very happy for that. I hope you guys got to enjoy your time. We'll get into a little bit more of that later. Mace went next in the chat says we need at least 3 streams a week.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Excuse me? Excuse me? 3 streams? I have to be a full-time streamer to be doing 3 streams a week now because now I'm going into the office more. I have even less time than ever. 3 streams? I'm gonna have to have at least a few 100,000 subscribers first so that I can become a full-time content creator, and then we could talk about 3 streams. All right, then we'll do that. How's that sound, huh? Football Flashback in the chat. What's going on, my man? He says, hey, bro, I just wanted to check in to see how you're doing outside of football and work. Just know we are all with you. We care deeply about you. Damn. I need to add another soundboard music for that one, but that's incredible. Thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate every single one of y'all, as always. Our community on YouTube. So I was talking to another streamer, by the way. A content creator, by the way. And the content creator was like, what's your biggest platform, you know? And we're talking about social media metrics and stuff. And I was like, oh, you know, it's this and that, whatever. But he was like, oh, your YouTube subscriber count is the lowest? And I was like, yeah, it is. And I have no problem with it. I don't do social media for following count. I do it because I enjoy doing it. And it's fun having a community of our own. And he was like, yeah, but how do you really have a community when you do YouTube? And I was like, I actually do YouTube more. I usually use YouTube and all the other platforms for streaming, really, like Twitch and Facebook and whatnot. And the community that we've all built together in these spaces, we have that connection because we stream and we chat and we kind of go back and forth and have them conversations. And that's what I love. I love doing that, you know, and then it don't matter to me if there's like 50 of you or 10 of you, 120 of you, 200, you know what I'm saying? Right now there's 184 tuning in from across the platforms. I love that. It don't matter to me. I love it. I wouldn't have been doing content for 11 years if this isn't something that made me happy. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. DB Cooper says, nah, no issues, man. Just wanted to open with a joke. Why you, DB Cooper? Come on. I'm seeing Bruno pinky swear with a fan that he's staying in, by the way. And no, I didn't make that up. I know, actually, DB Cooper, you're right, because I did see that. But hey, look, pinky promises, I've seen people break. I've seen people break pinky promises to me. Fernando Arana in the chat. What's going on, Fernando? My man. He says, glad you came on today. Been having a rough week. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, my man. Got my ball stolen at footy. My team lost the final. Damn. I'm so sorry to hear that, Fernando. Damn. Fernando, what kind of ball did you lose? Was it a nice ball? Tell me what it was. Vish in the chat, numero uno moderator. What's going on, my man? Thank you so much for checking in. As always, Nick Albini in the chat says, this has to be the most important transfer window we have had in decades, both incoming and outgoing players. Are you worried or excited / optimistic? First of all, Nick, that is, I have to agree with you 110%. I actually think this transfer window is going to be so important for Manchester United. It is going to be so important for all the right reasons and all for the wrong reasons, which is why, to answer your question, am I more worried or excited? I am both worried and excited. And the levels of worried, you know how it's like, if it's out of 100, it's kind of like this. You know what I'm saying? There's a scale. This is just like, I'm worried and excited all the way up here, you know, which is also the reason why this summer, by the way, chat, this summer, guys, I'm thinking of focusing less on transfer content. I know the last, well, however many years I've been doing content and whatnot, y'all have seen me do plenty of, you know, football transfer news and whatnot. But this year, actually, I'm thinking about not doing any. Sorry, my mic was like wobbling. I'm thinking about not doing any social media, not thinking about doing any transfer news. Because I just feel like transfer news now is just kind of like, you know, I'm tired of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be completely 100% real with you guys. I could talk about it all I want, but at the end of the day, it's all speculation, and I'm not trying to build into that. I'm not trying to waste my energy doing those things. You know what I mean? I know if it's important where, you know, the ball has actually started rolling down with a bit of steam, then okay, cool. But I'm not going to break down every single nook and cranny and talk about every single transfer news because I honestly don't have the energy and the time. You know, somebody was asking me to do a video on why I think Liam Delap is a bad signing for Manchester United because I was constantly saying that I didn't want Liam Delap. But I ended up not even filming that video because I don't even want to waste my energy talking about Liam Delap. With the greatest respect, I think he's a talented player and I think he's got all the potential, but I personally don't think he's a good fit for United, and I wasn't going to even talk about him until we got to that point. I wasn't going to do a breakdown or an analysis of his game and how he fits in the squad until I heard some really concrete stuff, because I don't want to waste my hard-earned energy and time talking about players that might not even join. You know, I don't do this because I'm trying to get every single click like I'm a journalist. You know, I'm just here having a good time chatting with you guys, and I'm starting to understand that my role as a content creator, of course, you guys want to hear my feedback and you guys want to hear my opinions, and I'm grateful for that, and that's why we have this platform. We could do that on the live shows, but I'm not gonna sit there and edit a 6 hour for 6 hours filming and studying and researching and nah. I'll leave all the breaking news stuff to Big Fabrizio Romano and my boy Winner Shipa. There we land. Nick Bradford says YouTube is my only social media. Oh, thank you guys so much. Oh, I didn't even know that some people. Well, I didn't. I do know that there's a lot of people that only use YouTube. But for some reason, I thought all this time, I thought you were on Instagram, Nick. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. Vispo in the chat says 1 year or so, you're closer to 7. You know, Vispo, on your birthday, you're also 1 year closer to 70. How about that? How about that? Mace Windex says, yo, did you see why did I add yo in there? Mason, you didn't even say yo. Mace says, did you see Ahmad and Garner give the finger to the fans? I've seen them do that. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. As a New Yorker, like, just to me, that's vibes. You know what I'm saying? My personal opinion is that it's vibes, right? But there's a time and place where you're out there vibing and when you're out there being a professional. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think a lot of these young players, they're young. So they're not, as much as they are media trained, sometimes they just do what they want because they're young. You know what I'm saying? And they're throwing middle fingers around, having a fun time. And it's not like they're necessarily throwing it actually with the intention of slurring and as swearing at people, but they just do it because it's a photo pose, you know? Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing or right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what they do. I don't necessarily always think that there's a harm to it. But like I said, there's a time and place. If you're at a fan greeting or a fan meeting, or if you're walking out of the team bus, unless there's an explicit reason to do so, I don't necessarily think it's the right thing to do. It's just my personal opinion. Apparently, Ahmad said that he was somebody insulted his mother while he was coming out of the bus, which is why he stuck the middle finger. I'm not sitting here saying that it's okay for him to be swearing or whatever, but if he felt justified in doing so, in responding because he felt like somebody abused him by insulting his mother, then who am I to tell Ahmad no? You know, there's nothing more hurtful in the world to me than you insulting my family and my friends. You know, and I can't even imagine how I would feel if somebody insulted my mother. You know, so. I'm not approving that behavior. I'm not saying it was the right thing or condoning it, but I can understand why he did that. But if it's anything else other than just, you know, you're posing, I don't know if that's the right thing. You know, for me, I'm cool. Like for example, let's say I went and interviewed Ahmad or Garna or any of the United players, right? And I was like, yo, can we take a quick photo? And they're like, yeah, what's up, man? Okay, cool. And then, you know what I'm saying? If we did the pose, cool. For me, it's funny. You know, but again, time and place. Katie says, I can't avoid talking without my accents at all anymore. Katie, I actually didn't hear a Bostonian accent at all when we met and talked. Robert Akuma in the chat, what's going on? He says, watching from Nigeria. Shouts out to you, my man, checking in from Nigeria. Bruno should stay. It's going to be hard to find Bruno's replacement and might have to take those new signings time to perform well, and we don't have that time now. Robert, first of all, thank you for checking in again. But I'm going to just say this real quick before we talk about anything else. I'm just going to answer that, okay? I think there's two sides to this. And between the two sides, especially when it comes to Man United, I think there's also two sides to it. And let me break this down. Let's talk about Manchester United's perspective first. Manchester United at this moment in time, you can ask anybody. We are currently going through the rebuild of rebuilds. We are currently going through it. Yeah? So there's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes going on. There's a lot of hypotheticals and there's a lot of conjectures. One of those conjectures has to do with this man right here, with Bruno Fernandes, right? Because as much as we all love Bruno, as a club, they have to make a decision. Because if the reports about Bruno Fernandes potentially being sold, helping United earn £100 million. And by the way, I've been reading somewhere people saying that it could be pure profit. I don't know if that's true or not. Somebody can maybe fact check me on that. But whether it is pure profit or not, 100 M's coming into the club. It's money that we don't have and it's money that we can use, right? Potentially. Now, to add to what Robert was saying, if we get that 100, are we going to sit here and say we can spend that wisely? If we're thinking about our transfer policies over the past few years, more oftentimes than not, Manchester United's transfers lean more on the side of not having really worked out, right? Let's be real. I'm not beating around the bushes here. You know what I mean? So in that case, what Robert is saying does hold validity. it might be better for us to just hold on to at least somebody that we know consistently is always able to provide something for our squad and our team, right? I 100% understand that logic, and I'm more in that logic. I tell you guys all the time, you can't just snap a finger, sign 20 players, and expect everything to go well. That's just not how it works. But sometimes teams do need that kind of shakeup, a big, drastic shakeup. And if Bruno Fernandes can be involved in a shakeup to a point where he'll bring us money, we can use that money to sign better players, or we can use that money to refresh their squad, then so be it. But on the flip side for Manchester United, that's our captain. What message does that send if we're selling arguably our best player, our captain, and on top of that, we're selling him without a replacement in this current squad? Because if he leaves, who's the next captain? If you look across the squad, apart from Marcus Rashford, who we know most likely will be leaving, apart from Casemiro, who doesn't even play, he doesn't play week in, week out. We know that he needs his time rest and whatnot. Lisandro Martinez, maybe, but he hasn't really been able to stay fit over the past 2 years. Anana is even staying. There's no real clear definitive captain. So there's even more ambiguities in that sense. So there's a lot more ifs. There's a lot more what happens next. A lot more unanswered questions that need answering in the immediate and in the future, right? So Bruno leaving opens more of a can of worms. And I don't necessarily want that. I don't think it's worth the 100 M's right now. The money looks good right now. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. If you showed me $10,000 right now in my face and say, hey, John, $10,000, yeah? I will do whatever you need me to. Don't be nasty. Edgar Ray is in the chat. What's going on, my man Edgar? He says, get your sleep, John, and not worth losing sleep over United. Bruno for 100 M's is a no-brainer. It will be a tough loss, but a part of the rebuild. Would need to bring another solid number 10 alongside Cunha. Glazers better not even see the 100 M's. You got that right. A solid number 10 alongside Cunha. I think we still need so many signings across the board. I'm not going to lie to you guys, you know. There's so much comments. I'm going to have to skip a little bit, guys. I'm sorry. I can't break down every single one of them, but thank you guys so much for all your comments. Radius in the chat. What's going on, my man? Dwayne Molanda in the chat. What's going on? Fernando says Champions League official match ball. People be ruthless. Naruto on the swing sad right now. Is that what it was? Hey, Fernando. Fernando. I'm gonna make a call. Okay? I don't know. Don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this. But I'm gonna make a call. Okay? I'm gonna try and replace that ball for you. How's that sound? I'm gonna try. Don't quote me on this, okay? Because I have to call Jimmy first. And then we got to go through logistics. If it doesn't work out, it don't work out. So don't quote me on this. Don't have your hopes up, but I'm going to try. Okay? So why don't you go find my email, yeah? And then send Jimmy an email. Okay? Say, hey, John told me to email, blah, 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 blah. Okay? I'm going to try. Don't quote me on anything. I'm just going to try. Dennis Dioyan in the chat says, if he leaves, I will throw a party. Dennis out here absolutely roasting Bruno Miguel Fernandes as always. Justin Abu Bakar Sheriff in the chat. What's going on? He says, United need to sell everyone so that we can start it all over again. Checking in from Kinema, Sierra Leone. Thank you for checking in. Appreciate you, Justin. He thinks we need to go through wholesale changes of wholesale changes. What do you think, chat? Let me know. TV Cooper says, giving the middle finger is just vibes. It's interesting. Dwayne Molina says, it's that Ugarte effect. Exactly. Like my boy Manu, you know? Mace Winnick says, Ahmad gave the finger when he was inside the bus wearing headphones, and then as he left the bus, no evidence anyone insulted his mother. They played back the recordings. Now, yes, you're right, Mace. You're right. From what we heard and from what we could see, that's what we heard. That's what we saw, right? What we saw is what we saw. However, who knows? Maybe Ahmad was walking down where he saw somebody where they were saying something and muttering something or holding a sign. Who the hell knows? Nobody knows, right? That's the problem. Because what Ahmad does and what these players do is when they do things like this, it causes a conversation unintentionally, and then it becomes an issue, right? Because not everybody knows. It's what I'm saying, and this is what I'm talking about, right? If and this is why culturally it's so much more important to understand, right? It's so important to understand that there's different cultures and different places. That's why when you go to these places, you have to be more careful and respectful. And I'm going to explain. I know we got to talk about Bruno, but I'm going to explain. Like we were talking about Bruno and completely just, but I want to explain this bit. When you're in a different place, a different country, different culture, different traditions, different societal norms, different trends, different everything, you have to be more respectful because you have to err on the side of caution, right? If he pull up New York, if Ahmad and Garner or whoever pull up New York and they're out there sticking middle fingers and vibing the fuck out, I'm cool with that. For me, it's funny, right? But if you go to other cultures, other places where that's not necessarily understood, right? If they don't necessarily understand that that's just a pose, right? Sometimes they're gonna be like, "Yo, what the? Why are you doing that? Why are you insulting us?" Not everybody's gonna understand that. That's why these young players have to be careful. You know, they have to be careful no matter what. I know they whether they meant it or not is beside. That's a different conversation. If what they were doing was just throwing up a pose and just vibing out, if they're in a different country where people don't really know that, then they're just being insulting. That's why some of these Malaysian fans were upset because they're like, "Yo, why are you sticking the middle finger at me?" You know what I'm saying? I understand. I understand both sides to this. That's why conversations are so hard, and that's why it's hard to understand people. Because it's so hard to understand your next door neighbor. It's so hard to understand your brother. It's so hard to understand your classmate. Imagine trying to understand people from halfway across the world with different ideologies and different beliefs and different upbringings and different societal traditions and standards. That's why you always have to be careful and err on the side of caution. That's why respect is so important. I said what I said before. I think there could be a misunderstanding. Maybe they didn't mean it. Whatever it is. While I'm okay with it, that doesn't necessarily always mean that it's okay. And that's why I would rather the players be more careful. Okay. Anyways. Let's see. David Cooper says, using the 100 M's from... Oh my God. The comments just flew in. Whoa. What the hell? Where'd it go? There it goes. Using the 100 M's from a Bruno sale sounds great on the surface and could be great, but Bruno never misses games. His effort is always 100 plus, and he has numbers galore, so it isn't clear cut. Absolutely. Dennis Dion says Sergio Romero was better than Anana. At least admit that. Do we need to be doing this, Dennis? You know, I don't necessarily know if we want to be doing this, you know. Why on earth did Barca want Rashford? He's not even better than Ferran Torres. Are you kidding me? All right, Dennis, that's he's way better than Ferran Torres. How dare you? Dwayne Milana says, our manager is bipolar, bro. He's low-key. Wait, why? Why do you say that? Why is he bipolar? What makes you say that? Radius in the chat. What's going on, Ray? He says Bruno will stay. He gives 100 even versus the Asian All-Star games he plays against. If he leaves, I hope he leaves to a team in the Champions League to show his quality. Ray, let's use that comment and bring us back into the Bruno conversation. Where does Bruno go with this deal? He's chilling in his hotel, getting a phone call from his agent, his agente, saying, hey, I was in Saudi. Yeah. 100 M's, fam. The club, they're going to think about it. And you know what they're offering you? 700,000 pounds a week. Untaxed. I'm doing Donald Trump. Untaxed, tax-free wages. 700 grand a week, tax-free wages. He's going to be collecting approximately 200 million pounds in 3 years. In 3 years' time, Bruno Miguel Borges Fernandes will be 34. Yes, as a footballer, it is on the older side, but he still has what it takes to play at a higher level, decent level. Should he honor the 3 years and then leave Saudi? He still has what it takes to join a Serie A team, a Bundesliga team, a La Liga team, even a Prem team. He still will be quality enough at the end of those 3 years to still be able to play at a decently high level. He still will have a chance to win a trophy. If he walks away on a free after the 3 years, any team will be looking to pounce on that, right? Let's say, for example, a Bayern. He can still walk away with a Bundesliga trophy. He can still walk away with a Champions League participation. He can still walk away having won something elsewhere, even after the 3 years have passed. That's Bruno thinking about this transfer. But on the other side, let's take the money out. We're going to be thinking about just purely football ambition. Maybe he's going to think, do I want to leave right now? I still have what it takes to play in Europe. Do I want to leave playing at the most elite level and play in Saudi with the greatest respect? He's going to be thinking about these things. And chat, y'all can let me know how you feel, what you think. But for me, I think it's a pretty decent proposition, a hard offer he can't refuse. Because if you're talking about 200 million pounds, let's be real, a lot of footballers and athletes at this high level, they already make life-changing money. They already make enough money to keep themselves and their next generation at least intact at a very wealthy stage, right? These players make generational wealth, of course. But we're talking 200 M's in 3 years. He can put 200 M's in any funds, in any investments. It'll sit there and accumulate, and they'll just be living off of that investment for years. His generations to come after will not have to work to be living with that money. His immediate family, his relatives can also to live off of that for generations. That isn't just family generational wealth. That is clan generational wealth. The Fernandes family will be eaten. That is insane money. That isn't just a joke, you know? To play football, to do what he loves to do, to make that kind of money, it's going to be very difficult for Bruno. And you know why I felt more about this deal more than ever? Is because I see Bruno talking about investments and I see him doing things, especially with David De Gea. I think Bruno is if I'm not mistaken, I think he's an investor. Bruno Fernandes, investor. I think he invests. If I'm not mistaken, I think he invested in David De Gea's team, the esports team. I can't remember, but I know Bruno Fernandes invested somewhere. You know what I mean? And when I saw that, I was like, you know, Bruno's a lot more public about these things. You know what I mean? And these footballers have to think about their future after their career, after they hang up their boots. And if we're talking 200 M's, that's going to set him up for years to come, you know? So money isn't everything. I 110% understand. But this is different money. And he's going to have to think long and hard. And me personally, if Bruno Fernandes takes this offer, I wouldn't be mad at him. I would not be mad at all. Because, look, This is different. I personally think at the age that he is at now, he's going to be thinking about the future more so than the present. 100%. I know that 110%. And a lot of you folks in here, a lot of my family here, y'all know, especially you're on the older side, you know you can't hide from that. You know I'm not chatting nonsense here. You know that when you hit that age, at a certain point, you start thinking about your future more so than your present. 100%. So I'm not mad at Bruno. I won't be mad if he takes that. I'll be gutted and I'll be devastated and I'll be shocked and it would hurt my feelings and I'll be crying and you know what I'm saying? But I won't have any ill feelings towards Bruno. I will not have any ill feelings towards Bruno because I understand 100%. 110%. Ray says any of us would take that 100 M's and lay off another 200. You know one thing that upsets me about all this stuff about what Ineos has been doing? While I understand that some of these decisions are necessary and some of these decisions are required, and I get all that. I get it, you know. I've worked in big corporations. I've worked in law firms. I understand structurally sometimes you need to do these things, whether you agree with them or not. But the one thing I really don't like is cutting the staff lunches, cutting all these little things, because it takes away from the heart and soul of what football is about. Football is about so much of what life is. Reason why football was the people's game, the reason why it was the beautiful game was because it felt the least corporate, at least from my perspective. It still felt like a family sport. It still felt like the owners had a connection to the club, and it still felt like the owners put in more. Of course, at the end of the day, it's a business, so they need to walk away with something, right? But it wasn't really just done because they wanted to walk away with a profit, you know? And I felt like maybe Uncle Jim might have wanted to do something like that. I don't know what the logistics are with respect to spending. I don't know what the logistics are with respect to how much an owner can spend. I don't know. But I wish that if I had a football club, I would only buy it or I would spend money out of my own pocket. I know it sounds really immature and it sounds like, you know, I sound like a kid. But that's what made football special for me. Sometimes it's not always about money. And I really wish that, you know, the owners had the cojones to be like, hey, I know this club is going through a really tough time right now financially, but you know what? I'll put up the money for the next 5 years out of my own checkbook. Y'all can write off the staff lunches. Out of my own checkbook, y'all can write off the staff traveling down for the FA Cup final or the Community Shield or whatever. Yeah? I understand. This is where compromise comes into play. Because you can bring that price down. Yeah? I understand. You got to lay off whatever, okay? You maybe the employees used to be able to give 10 family tickets or whatever. I don't know, all right? But I understand if you reduced it down to 5 or 3, whatever. I don't know the exact details, but my point is compromise. Hey, guys, you know, as an owner, I understand. Look, I want to explain to you that all these changes are happening and we're going to have to make drastic measures and cuts. I apologize, but this is what needs to happen for this club to survive. However, I'm the owner. I take responsibility. So while we are going to have to make certain drastic measures to make as many changes to safeguard as many traditions or safeguard many opportunities here at Man United, I'll pay for the staff lunches. I'll pay for the trips. You know? Dwayne Melinda says they can't put in their own money for footballing reasons. It's against the updated PSR rules. 110% understand that. 110%, Dwayne. But that's why I'm saying that I'm feeling sad about football, because it's feeling more so than ever corporate. Because it's protecting the interests and the pockets of the owners. Right? What PSR, what benefits do we get on the pitch if the staffers can have lunch for free? What does that impact Bruno Fernandes having more goals? Does that impact Andre Onana making more saves? In my view, not necessarily. Because it's about the livelihood of the people that function to make the club function. If the PSR rules are set in place to protect the fairness of the league or to find a better balance, then what difference does it make from us being a close franchise league like an NBA or an NFL or an MLB? Yes, fairness is fairness. Of course, I understand. But that, to me, those things feel more like you're protecting the vested interest of these investors and these owners. You know? What does that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? What does that have to do with the hardworking people of Manchester United? Or it's not even, I'm not even talking about Man United. I'm talking about everybody in general. What does that have to do with anybody else? What does that have to do with the janitors, the cooks, the grass people, the work people working on the grass, the people behind the scenes? You know how many people I met at Manchester United? Lovely people, hardworking, dedicated people. They're not the ones out there running on the pitch with football boots on. They're not the ones finishing 17th or 15th. Why do they have to suffer? Okay, like I said, the club, I get it financially. Don't get me wrong. I'm not oblivious to the norms of the world, capitalism and all of those things. I get it. I understand. Changes need to be made. That's why I wasn't really expressive about what Uncle Jim and what Ineos was doing, because to a certain extent, whether I agree or disagree with them, this is what companies and organizations do. When they realize that they've spent too much and they've overspent and they've bloated themselves, they contract. That's what they do. It's just a business decision. But if it's continuously always going to be about decisions, a business, then I hate that. And that's why I feel like that's why football is being taken away from us in so many ways. It makes me sad. It makes me sad. Clubs continuously do more and more these days. They continue to do community events. They continue to be a presence in the communities, which I absolutely love. Those things clubs and football are still getting right. There's more outreach. There's more accessibility. There's more conversation and communication. I love that. But these owners, with the greatest respect, they got billions. Billions. You know what I mean? If they have the responsibility of buying a football club, it shouldn't be 90% for the reason of making money. It should be 51% making money and 49% doing it for the culture and doing it for the people and the fans. I know that's not how the real world works, but I'm just telling you that's how I feel. I accept that ain't how the real world works, but that's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Jeff in the chat, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. Dwayne Molanda says they can't even put their money, can't even pay tickets for staff. Yeah, it's kind of lame. It's kind of lame. You know? David Cooper says Bruno is really the only player that I trust. Not that he's always great every game, but his intentions are clear and always to make Manchester United better. Absolutely. Absolutely. Fanny Maggie in the chat, what's going on? He says, what's up, John? What's up, Fanny Maggie? He says, I don't want him to leave, but I have a perspective. Our players will only realize Bruno's magic once he leaves. They'll have to cover up so much, they'll actually work hard for once, and that's what we lack. Danny Maggie, they are working hard, but that's just the problem. Is that they're working hard, but it just, right now at least, for whatever reason, from the squad, from the manager to the players, collectively, it's all not good enough. That's a fact. And if Bruno leaves, for example, look at the Europa League final. Bruno did not have a good game at all. And then without Bruno, because Bruno wasn't on it, we all looked so lost. You know what I'm saying? Sir Turin in the chat says the club missed out on Champions League and badly needs new players. Selling Bruno for big money and funding multiple signings may simply be the most logical move. And whether you agree with it or not, Sir Turin, 100%, the club will be thinking about that. Dwayne Molunda going off. Jeff in the chat says, my worry with selling Bruno is if we don't buy correct, we are so screwed. Jeff, exactly. That's the big concern that everybody has. What do we do with this money? And are we going to spend it well? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to spend it well? That's the problem. Hey, anyways, it's been about an hour, and I don't know what we've been chatting about. I feel like I've just been going off on tangents. That's what we do here. The Immaculate Collective. Our streams go stupid, yeah? What's going on, Daniel Lowe? What's going on, everybody, man? How y'all been doing, man? Hope you guys are all fantastic. You know, crazy, I was thinking about doing a Warzone stream to throw it back. I don't have the energy to play games anymore. I was getting shot up left, right, and center. I was like, oh, I'm like having just jump scares. Oh my God. I was like, yeah, this is, I don't know if I could play games like that, like I used to. You know what I'm saying? And funny enough, by the way, with respect to transfers, everybody's like, yo, what's Man United doing? It looks like we're getting, like all the players are getting stolen from us. Report just now, Florian Plettenberg, Big Bumba, Franco Mastantuono, who was linked with United. Apparently now he's going to PSG. Yeah? Liam Delap, linked with United, going to Chelsea. Benjamin Šeško, linked to United, going to Arsenal. Are we losing out on players? I don't necessarily think so. DB Cooper says, when all else fails, just do what Twice would do. Huh? Oh, Twice the K-pop crew. Oh, cheer up the song. Mace Winnick says, the good thing with Mbuemo is he is rarely injured. Is that really it? Is his injury record good? Well, I like that a lot then, because that's what we need right now. We need players. We need players that can hang, that can keep up, you know? Hey, June, don't make it bad. Take us. Scared that. You see me jump in? Did you see me getting jump scared? I'm like looking for the next thing to talk. Radius. Ray with a big member for 8 months. Shit. Thank you, Ray. He says, what should I write for my membership free comment? So many choices. How about John? What? Don't do this, Ray. Don't do this. I don't. In the stars tonight. Come on, I love BTS. I don't know too much about Twice, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, don't do that, Ray. Don't you trying to get me in trouble? I'm not. You putting words in my mouth. I don't hate them. Mace Winnick says, next time I go to America, I'll give the middle finger, see what kind of vibes I get. Yo, if you do that, Mace, it's gonna be a problem. Because with the greatest respect, if you just do it randomly, it's a problem. You know. Like for example, Mace. Like let's say you met me in the street, right? Let's say you met me in the street. We're like, yo, like, oh shit, John, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, yo, Mace, what's up, Mace Windex? How you doing? Vibing, having a good time. No. And then you go, hey, before I leave, can we take a quick photo? I'll be like, yo, come on, let's take a quick photo, you know? And then you're whoever you're with, like, all right, here we go. And then I go, you know, with the middle finger. I think there's a level of vibe to it. You know, if you told me, hey, I don't like that, then I'll be like, oh, let's just take a normal photo. That's cool. I'm sorry. I apologize. You know, but there's a vibe element to it, you know. But if you just walking up in the middle of nowhere, you just throw up the finger, then yeah, of course, there's implications to that. That's a weird one. TV Cooper, member for 8 months. Thank you so much. Y'all been members for 8 months already. Oh my goodness, time absolutely flies. Jeez Louise. Oh, I get one too, TV Cooper says. Best member of Sistar. I don't know the names except Hyorin. That's all I know. Y'all out here asking me about K-pop questions. I don't know them names. I only know the songs. Thany Maggie says, this might sound anti-capitalist agenda, but sportsman investment become the trendy inflatable balloon of a financial instrument. Whoa. I don't know anything about what you're I Them words there, they're too old. They're too grown up for me. I don't know any of those words. Da, na, 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 na. Did you hear? By the way, Speed was at the Champions League like celebrations or something, and he like touched the trophy and he got in trouble. Let's take a look. Let's see what happened. I didn't even see this. Mace Windex says, "Why don't you know K-pop?" I know a lot about K-pop, but I just don't know the names of the especially the more recent like groups. And my K-pop like name remembering ended like Big Bang and SNSD. That's where it ended. The rest I have no idea. I know the songs and I know the groups, but I don't know anything else. And then after that, it just continues to, I don't know any of the names. Anyway, let's take a look at this. Apparently Speed streaming. Here we go. Well, this happened on the stream. Let me see if I can, boom.
Hold on, for real? You sure? Yes. Yo! The UCL trophy! I lifted it! Dude! Yo!
Yeah, I don't know.
actually
That's
did it.
crazy. Did somebody tell this? How come somebody didn't tell him?
Oh my god. What?
So good.
Huh?
Don't hold, don't touch, don't lift it. So this is
Why would you tell me to do
so good.
So Speed, the booth.
Oh, the ball?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's crazy. If he got in trouble for that, you want to know something crazy? Speaking of trophies, let me see. Let me see if I can show y'all. Let me see if I can show y'all. They didn't give us the damn photos that I took with Maddie, but let me see if I can show you something. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. Gotta get that. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get that. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get that. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see. How can I open this? Boom, boom, boom. Hold on. Let me pull this up for y'all. Boom, 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 boom. What the hell? Boom. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Excuse me? Why do I have to extract it? Come on. Boom, 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 boom. There we are. Here we go. All right, so sorry about the delay on that. Let me show you a little thing that I did recently. Boom. So recently, I had the honor of being in the presence of the FIFA World Cup trophy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. That trophy apparently is 18 karat gold. 18 karat. And like I was looking at it, I was like I stood there and I like stared at it for a few minutes and I was like, do I want to lift it? No, absolutely not, no. But now I was looking at it and I was like, damn, I could feel the weight of it. I could feel how heavy it is just by looking at it. Imagine playing for your country, playing in the world's greatest tournament, yeah? And then lifting that thing. And I was like imagining it in my head. I was like, damn. If I imagine me next to Sonny, me and Sonungmin. I was like drawing up all these scenarios. I was like staring at it. So like people got to take photos with it and do stuff, and then they went to go watch the game. The game, by the way, stunk. But But I stood there and I was just like staring at it for a few minutes. And I was like, damn, what a beautiful, beautiful piece of history that I'm standing next to. So many incredible footballers across the eras have lifted that trophy. They have put their hands on it. They have put their lips on it. I was like, wow. And then I was talking to the FIFA rep who was there, and he was telling me that every single scratch and dent, small or large, that is on that trophy, every single minor, small, microscopic, every single scratch or dent is documented. They write up a full report on when it happened, how it happened, and who was responsible for it. And I was like looking at it, I was like, damn, that is crazy. I really wanted to touch it and lift it, but they said, no, you're not allowed to touch it, you're not allowed to lift it. No. One kid, he was like maybe, I don't know, like 6 years old or 7 or something. He was there with his dad. And like his dad was like, get around it and put your hands there. He was just telling the kid to like put his hands as if he's lifting it. But the kid almost put his hands and everybody was like, oh, no. And the kid was like, oh. I felt bad for the kid. But it was so beautiful. I mean, what an incredible part of history. And I just wanted to take this opportunity, I guess, one more time to thank Valvoline, who are the official supporters of FIFA Club, the FIFA 2026, the World Cup. And yeah, they invited me out there as an opportunity to, also be a part of their announcement, but at the same time be able to be alongside the trophy. And it was a sensational, so yeah, thank you so much for Valvoline, and thank you so much for having us to the NYCFC as well. The game, they lost 3-0 to Houston. It was such a disappointing game because the crowd was working, so especially the NYCFC Ultras, they were out there in the pouring rain, and if the fans are going through it, you want to see a little bit more, but unfortunately they just no gravy at the end. Mace Windex says, what happens if you touch it? You get in trouble. You get in trouble. Mace Windex says, when's the next World Cup? Next year, and it's happening here in America. Ronak Joshi in the chat, what's going on? Did you touch it? No, I did not. DB Cooper says, always funny how the World Cup isn't a cup. It actually is a cup, because if you think about it, it's like that, and there's a globe sitting inside this little contraption. The arms are holding the globe, so it is a cup. Yeah. But Ray says, if you touch it without winning, you turn into the trophy and the previous person is released from the curse. Edgar says, worth the trouble, I'm going to touch it. You know, Edgar, I guarantee you, every football fan that was there, because not everybody that was there were football people. Some people were just part of the industry and, whatever. There was a few of us content creators. There was Maddie, Alfardi, and Ahmed, who I met, Farrow. Shouts out to all of them. We were all there. I guarantee you, all of us, at some point, it crossed our minds like, should we touch it? I thought about it, but I was like, hell no. I'm going to get in big trouble. And I'm sure if you do something abhorrent and if you do something crazy, you get in trouble and you probably get blacklisted, and you won't be able to get into other events and other cool opportunities. But Edgar, I completely understand what you're saying, though. Worth the trouble. That's so funny. But yeah, no, this was a crazy experience, man. Absolutely insane experience. You remind me of a girl that I once knew. Mace Winnick says, yeah, I would have touched it too. Once in a lifetime chance. Y'all clearly have had more thought about this than I did. I definitely did. As soon as I was like, oh, am I going to touch this thing? I was like, nope. I'm not trying to get in trouble. Y'all clearly thought this through way better than I have. You remind me of a girl that look. Boom. That's me and the homie Maddie. We was out there and we was vibing. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Maddie. Shouts out to Maddie so much. This guy is incredible, man. I've been in this industry for 11, 12 odd years. I've met people. I've spoken to thousands of people. I've met so many people in the industry. And I can tell you, Maddie is a good guy, and he's talented, and he's respectful, and he's humble. He works hard, and he's, like I said, talented. He deserves all of his success, you know? I remember I was doing a Instagram stream, and some kid was like, hey, John, are you mad that all these other content creators get bigger than you? I was like, absolutely not. No way. Look, of course I'm human. It makes me think about it and go, oh, wow, they're growing much more in terms of presence. How do they do that? And of course I try to learn from it, but I don't have a single ounce of negativity towards any content creator because I wholeheartedly believe in collaboration and growing together. You guys know that more than anything else, which is why I've always preached about collaborating and doing things with other content creators because I love doing that. I love growing the community together. Why not? And Maddie is somebody that I know 110% deserves all of his success, and he recently announced that he quit his full-time job, and I was so happy for him because that jump, we've been talking together for a while. He was like, yeah, I don't know, man, maybe I should. I don't know. He was like contemplating about it, and then he went and did it. What an incredible decision. What a huge, he must be terrified, and he was telling me, you know, but I was so happy for him, you know, so happy for him. Shouts out Maddie. Shouts out to Maddie FC. DB Cooper says you aren't allowed to take pictures inside the 6th floor museum where the What? Oh wait, you making fun of my jacket? That jacket is fire. Don't make fun of my jacket. That jacket is fire. What museum are you talking about? Where the assassination happened. Oh, I was like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. You took photos in there? Oh, you're gonna get in trouble. Edgar says, are you coming to Chicago this summer? If so, alongside any other United YouTube channels. So, family, I guess this is a good opportunity to talk about it now that the season is over. I'm going to be hosting events all across New York, Atlanta, and Chicago. In New York, we're going to be hosting an event alongside Stretford Paddock. An announcement will be made very, very shortly, so stay tuned for that. In Chicago, I'm going to be hosting my own event alongside Saturday's Football, and other content creators will be involved. I cannot tell you who just yet, but we will be hosting an event, and it's going to be a football kit event. We're going to have fun events planned for you guys. You guys pull up, red cups, vibes, DJ, vibes all around. We're going to host a competition. Whoever pulls up with the best fit, best jersey, they get to win prizes. We're going to have all kinds of events in Chicago as well. It's going to be immaculate. Yeah. And then in Atlanta, I think we're going to be hosting just a little like, hey, we're going to be pulling up to this place here. Come, let's eat together. Or let's have fun together, you know. The Atlanta one is the one I'm not too sure if it'll happen just yet, but the New York one and the New York one and the Chicago one most likely will be happening. I probably wouldn't be. I'm like Tom Holland in this bit. I probably shouldn't be telling you guys this, but whatever. Y'all, my community, I'm gonna tell you what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We're working on it. As soon as more details get confirmed, we'll let you know. How's that sound? Yeah. Okay. Ray says, that jacket is fire or should it be put on fire? Excuse me, gentlemen. That jacket is from APC. I got it with my hard-earned money in Paris. I was so happy to get that jacket. How dare you? If I started liking K-pop, Ray, I grew up on K-pop. I love K-pop. You guys putting words in my mouth. I love K-pop. Mace Winnick says John should be a K-pop star. You know what's so crazy? That that video that I recently made about the "It's been a long day without you, my friend." You know that song? That video? So many people were like, yo, John, you should start actually taking like coaching, like vocal coaching, and think about putting out an album. I was like, excuse me. Me singing. A singer, an artist. Maybe. Nah. That ain't happening. Edgar says, bet, hope to see you soon in Chicago. I'll keep an eye out for the details. Absolutely. All of you guys, whether you're pulling up to New York or Chicago or Atlanta, wherever it may be, follow on Instagram for all of the updates. That's where I'm going to be posting all the news and all that stuff. So if y'all follow me on Instagram, you guys will know. Yeah. I met so many of you guys already, but I can't wait to meet all of y'all. More of y'all. It's been a long day. Ray says ABC store. No, APC. Fanny Maggie says, John, what would be your stage name if you were an idol? Good question. Stage name if I was an idol? Probably John. I don't know. I think I'll just go by my name, really. John Shin. D. Cooper says, sing you like Girls' Generation. Can you get Sunny on the show? Oh, since how the hell would I get Sunny on the show? I don't know. They're superstars. I'm just John. Mace Winner says John and Jimmy, J&J's. Let's not put Jimmy in this mix. I don't want Jimmy involved in this at all. Fanny Maggie says Shin Zaddy. J Dragon. Katie Marie says, can't wait to sit in the Route 1 traffic to Gillette and everyone wondering why they are 27 miles outside of Boston. That is on the poster. Huh? Gillette? Where is Gillette? Is that a stadium? Jay Dragon and Jimmy Kim's. Ugh. 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 All right, Chad, it's been about an hour. I hope you guys had fun. I love you guys. Let me just be real with you guys. I mean, I'm always real with y'all. You guys know how much I love doing live shows. You guys know how much I love chatting with you guys. It's just I'm finding it harder than ever to find the damn time because going back into the office is killing me. But yeah, I'm going to do more of these as often as I can. I know I'm going to get back into the rhythm of things. Strangely enough, well, I thought with less family responsibilities, I thought I'd find more time, but strangely enough, other things are happening and I'm finding less time, you know? But no, awesome. I'm so grateful for all of y'all for checking in as always. And I can't wait to check in with you guys again. It's going to be fun. And for the YouTube members, we're going to be live tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We're going to be going live for about 30 minutes or so, chatting a little bit more about what's been going on behind the scenes and talk to you guys a little bit more about what the plans are going forward. And then, yeah, I can't wait to break it down a little bit more for you guys. Thank you guys so much to every single one of y'all. Appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart. Yeah. Be happy, be healthy, take care of your loved ones, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll see y'all's laters. Peace! It's been a long